causing the destruction. That destruction is leading to chaos in every city in India, not just Hyderabad. But we being in Hyderabad and this show being beamed from Kerala, we need to win at home to conquer the world. So we are trying to come up with all evidence based how the nature or the naturality is being forced to succumb, and in doing so how we are suffering. That suffering is continuing for the last 4 years in the form of floods, the devastation, normal life affected. Still the blame game continues. మీకు చెప్పినట్టే గురువు గారిని మళ్ళీ తీసుకొచ్చాము. సిరీస్లో మనం ఏదైతే చేస్తూ వస్తా ఉన్నామో గత 4 సంవత్సరాల నుంచి వర్షం అంటే భయం, rain means fear. Why are we not able to enjoy the nature, the monsoon? Water is essential. 90% of our body is with water. 90% నీరే కదా మన శరీరంలో ఉన్నది. అటువంటి నీరు వానాకాలం వస్తుందంటే ఎందుకు రా భయం? ఎందుకంటే అన్ని విధాల చెడు పనులు మనం చేశాం. మన ద్వారా ప్రభుత్వాలు చేయిస్తా ఉన్నాయి. వాళ్ళకు కొమ్ములు కాస్తున్నటువంటి కొందరు, అందరిని అన్నాను, రియల్ ఎస్టేట్స్ కానీ, మిగతా అధికారులు కానీ, మిగతా గణం కార్పొరేట్ శక్తులు ఆ తప్పులు చేయించడం ద్వారా వాన అంటే భయం, వర్షం అంటే భయం, బారిష్ బోలేతో భయం, బారిష్ బోలేతో क्यों हम कांपते हैं आज, क्यों डर है बारिश से, why we fear rain. Last 4 years the same flooding, we are doing show after show, property loss, and again believe me, they say we are trying to control the precious lives, but by giving holidays, by making everything to come to a standstill, and the hindsight, every year every city, every town is spending hundreds, thousands of crores of public money. That public money again we have to bear in the form of taxes. See, already 12% for hostels. For those who go to hostels to study, they're also 12%, and GST you have seen, no GST on petroleum products, various other things. సో ఆ విధంగా మళ్ళీ వేల కోట్ల రూపాయలు, వందల కోట్ల రూపాయలు వరదల పేరిట మళ్ళీ ఆ పన్నుల ద్వారా మన నెత్తి మీదనే వేస్తారు. ఆల్రెడీ ఇప్పుడు కొత్తగా పిల్లలకు హాస్టల్లకు పోతుంటే 12% ట్యాక్సులు మన మీద విధించారు కేంద్రం నుంచి రాష్ట్ర ప్రభుత్వాలు. यही है हमारे डर, किस तरह भाड़ बतला के 100 करोड़, हजारों करोड़ रुपए हर साल हर टाउन या सिटी भाड़ को दिखा के ये पैसे लेते हैं, और ये पैसे किधर जा रहे हैं, फिर हमको टैक्स भरना पड़ता है. लेकिन वो पैसे पूरा पानी में, ఆ వేల కోట్ల రూపాయలు నీళ్ళలో, all that thousands of crores into water. So that is why blame not climate. Where is climate preparedness? వాతావరణ మార్పులు అంటున్నారు. వాతావరణ మార్పులకు మన కారణం కాదా? కబ్జాలు అన్ని, మన నీళ్లు లేనటువంటి బాడీస్ ను, when water bodies are encroached, what will happen? You are blaming climate. Yes sir, without much delay, I thought you have selected a wonderful topic in series. Please sir, go ahead. I'll make you the presenter. He's taking so much of pains to enlighten people. I only hope the concerned citizens should enlighten now. If not now, it will be never, as we have told you in the last show. जागो वरना डूब जाएंगे, साथ में हमारे पैसे भी जाएंगे, और कर्जा पूरा हमारे बच्चों को उनके सिर के ऊपर आएगा. మనం మురుగుతాం, మనతో పాటు మన పిల్లలకు భవిష్యత్తు లేదు. అప్పులు భారం మన పిల్లలు మోయాల్సి వస్తుంది. కళ్ళు తెరవంటారా నాయన? Yes sir, it is visible sir.
Is it visible?
Yes sir, 100%.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Shiv Prasad Reddy garu. See, 2 years back, when there was heavy rain and people were discussing on Kaleshwaram sustainability and its vulnerability, the sudden debate started on cloudburst. See, whether it is cloudburst, cloud weeping, or cloud pouring, whatever it is we name it, it's only a change in the pattern of precipitation. Last 10 days, we have seen very normal rainfall, but for I think 3 or 4 times we have seen very high intensity short duration rainfall, which happened yesterday evening also. It was only 15 minutes, and the precipitation could be anywhere around 15 millimeters to 20 millimeters. And again, there was a small, a short spell, um, gap, and then we had another high intensity rainfall. So we need to understand, the rainfall patterns and the human civilization. It is directly connected with water, climate, rainfall. This is a long umbilical cord with the human civilization and also with all life forms on the earth. Man is part of that. But what's happening is as we moving on too much of narrowed down specializations, today, we are coining something, diverting people's attentions and all. Let us look into it. Blame not climate change. Why we are blaming the climate change every time? Okay? The only reason is we stop looking around what's happening around us. What are the physical changes that is happening? What are the climatic changes that are happening? Forget about the climatic changes. At least the weather, local weather conditions and local environment conditions. Was my neighborhood lake still exists or encroached totally, reclaimed totally? We need to look around. As I said earlier, it's a blind man's description of the elephant. Today, everybody is talking, the super specialities. One man blames the climate, the other man comes out with a theory which, we look into. And Google Mata provides all kinds of information, but we need to verify. We need to validate the informations before we place it before for the wider debate, and we need to look into it. We need to really go into a scientific temperament for the greater cause, in the interest of the state, in interest of the country, in the interest of the humanity. Let's not go into all those things. Let us look into Telangana. Telangana it's a semi-arid region, first of all, and a very dry climatic conditions. Okay, and this was taken from EPTRI's report, and some of the brief salient features I have taken it. I say Telangana in the north is blessed with rich forests, blessed with very heavy rainfalls historically, blessed with a perennial river Godavari, Karimnagar, Adilabad, you name it, even Nizamabad. So such is the situation there where Adilabad used to touch 1200 millimeters. Adilabad and Karimnagar, they are not drought prone areas. How come the state government, keep on talks of this? With 1200 millimeters of average annual rainfall, how could you say that it's a drought prone area? Okay, with a perennial river, we need to explore the possibilities. And Adilabad is known for very cool temperatures where the temperatures drops down to single digit during the winter seasons. But today things are changing. Even the winters are getting very hot. The EPTRI, it summarized in its report that Telangana climate change issues, high vulnerability of state towards climate change. I think this report was released in somewhere around 2009, or later this was discussed and updated. The river basins are prone to climate change impacts. Please give an attention to these statements given by APTRI, the State Environmental Authority. I'm not saying this. High vulnerability of the state towards climate change. The river basins are prone to climate change impacts, which we are experiencing in the Godavari, and we keep on play a blame game with Polavaram, Andhra, Telangana, all this. The river basins are prone to climate change impact due to changing precipitation and temperature patterns. This is very important. Industrial hubs are prone to climate change impacts. Majority of the rural and urban populations is not aware about the climate change issues and the impacts. This I only agree 50%, but the rural, the farmers communities, they are well aware of it. They know how the climate is changing because their livelihood is with precipitation, rainfall, water cycle. They have much better knowledge of the climate change than their counterparts in the urban population. This statement I do not agree fully. Yes, urban population, I do agree. So, first two, let us take. It is vulnerable to change. Did we make any climate preparedness? Okay, in spite of EPTRI's report? Yes, we have prepared another report of disaster risk reduction. I know why we are making all these reports is only to please the multinational companies who are stepping into Telangana, that Telangana government is pro sustainable development. This is only to please them, not for implementation. Did we conduct any study? Forget about the bigger river system, at least in Musi, on climate change impacts and temperature variations? No. Let us go one after the other. And state intervention. It's not that state is keeping quiet, but state, always wants to be first in the country. It has created a climate change knowledge center. How much knowledge this center is spreading on climate change, I have my own doubts. Maybe some training programs. Climate vulnerability studies in major river basins. How many climate vulnerability studies? Why EPTRI was not assigned on Kaleshwaram issue and the changing river patterns? Climate socio-economic vulnerability studies in industrial hubs to floods, erosion. Climate baseline studies in ELBs and municipal corporations. Show me one report. One report out of 12,000 panchayats that we have established a report. We do not have a biodiversity register in our ELBs. Forget about the climate change. How many training programs we have conducted for them? Okay, we may come out with a list of training programs which MCHRDA conducts, but where is the follow up that whether they are implementing this, and to what extent the heads of the districts, the collectors, are proactive in this direction? Demonstration projects at ELB major gram panchayat levels. I have my own doubts whether we have taken up anything. Forget about the other thing. At least in the peri-urban areas, we have not taken. The state action plan for climate change, the principles. Adaptation to short-term climate variability. Extreme events serves as starting point for reducing vulnerability to long-term climate change. Adaptation policies. Adaptation occurs at different levels in the society. Mitigation measures in line with NA National Action Plan for Climate Change. Okay, did anyone come across this? Did anyone come across this? Some debate round table, but we have umpteen number of round tables on cloud. What is cloud burst? What is the atmospheric river systems? On these things, why we are not discussing on the adaptation? To what level the state has adopted it? To what level state discussed on the policies of National Action Plan for Climate Change brought out by the government of India? Nothing. It becomes a showpiece, a report in the secretariat, and then a photographs and a press meet, nothing else. Or else the entire exercise is being outsourced. So nothing goes in the minds of my great officers. Although central government is key authority in shaping climate change policy, creating institutional mechanisms, involvement of state governments in this process is crucial. And I say more than the state government, it is the local panchayats and local governing bodies, municipalities. They should be empowered. Are we empowering them? No. Let us look into it. To what extent we are only blaming the climate change, heavy rainfalls. Out of the identified key sectors, there is no water sector. Okay? Water management, changing urban hydrology. This is all tippi tippi bete pata sutra. Nothing else. Okay? Goals of state act, reduction of impact CCC. I challenge. You see, all along Godavari River, the highest carbon emissions are there. Highest. The temperatures are also high. Why? We have series of thermal plants along the Godavari. We have series of open cast mining along the Godavari River. We should have conducted a special studies there. How the rainfall pattern changes, how the temperatures are varying, how the carbon emissions are going. Did we conduct anything on it? Reduction of impact of CC, forest cover, biodiversity, water resources. Biodiversity is not at all part of the forest department. Okay, there is separate state board which does not function. What is this? The maximum today, whatever little biodiversity we see, we should thank the tribal communities whose livelihood depends on food gathering, collection, and processing. Protection of vulnerable, reduction of impact on CC on human and animal health. I have not come across a single health report by social preventive medicine on this. Achievement of environment sustainability, including mitigation measures. These are all good. When you show it to some MNC company which wants to come to Telangana, oh, highly impressed. You want to show it to the French embassy, you want to show it to the UK embassy. All rosy dialogues. You see, Telangana received 43 out of 100 as per Niti Aayog's thing in climate change, favorable climate changing and all. Telangana has been put alongside 9 other states. Okay, this is all stories from them. And the parameter they have seen is carbon emissions, effective disaster management, preparing state to use renewable energy. Are we doing it? Nothing. Misconception. Some 10 years back, people were so happy that now we have bifurcated. Andhra will suffer from cyclones and we will be blessed with rains. We are all living on misconceptions. Climate experts say that there is also a widespread misconception among government that only those states along coast are prone to cyclones need to worry. Okay. EPTRI summary statement. They told, it changes everything. South always gets a shot of rainfall. It's a cloud, it's a rain shadow zone, Mehboob Nagar, Nalgonda, and all. And north is highly blessed with forest cover as well as the rainfalls. Considering the climate changes that could possibly occur, suitable adaptation plans need to be designed. Did we discuss this? I think in the first term, the Honorable Chief Minister mentioned on the need to redesign our irrigation reservoirs or water reservoirs. I felt very happy that probably he directing the entire discussion towards the climate change, because dryland areas, as IPCC indicated or forecasted, that semi-arid dryland areas is going to receive more rainfall. Probably the Honorable Chief Minister was indicating his thought towards this. But unfortunately, my great advisors and the so-called engineers of the state, they totally misguided him and distorted his thoughts for creating some crazy projects. We have not done anything. We have not assessed the water retention of present reservoirs, water loss of water retention capacity in our reservoirs. What is the percentage of siltation in our reservoirs? We have not done anything for the Kadim project. What is that we could do for Sri Salem or Nagarjun Sagar or any other reservoir, Sri Ram Sagar project? What is that we are talking about? Probably at that moment, the Honorable Chief Minister was in a very right direction, but somewhere things have gone wrong. It's time for the so called advisors around him to discuss, review, make a course correction for the state, and not to gossip on climate change trends, climate change, schools of thoughts, all those things. It's a long way. It is 194 countries' commitment to make a change in the climate change. But the state governments and local governing bodies have primary responsibility to take care of improving the environment conditions of the natural resources within their jurisdiction. 12,000, panchayats and they have to think of it. They have to count by it. They have to come up with climate index. The state government has to direct. The urban development authority has a role to play to give a direction to the local governing bodies, but not competing with them in selling and auctioning the land resources. At the same time, the state planning and development authority, today it has been outsourced. They do have the primary responsibility equally to come out with strategies and reset the course of direction in the development plan. It's time for everyone to sensitize the people on this. The EPTRA report itself says urban and rural Telangana do not know anything about the climate change. To what extent we have sensitized it? No? Then how do we? And are we sensitizing the builders who are just forcing the change of skyline in and around the urban areas? Could we change our building code according to that? No, we have to think of it. Let us not blame the climate. Let us not blame. Take this as an advantage. Store more water. Create a water blessed state. Why we are not planning? We need to plan. We do not have a plan for water infrastructure in this state, in the country. What is that we are talking? We are all bunch of hypocrites. We are all bunch of shameless people. We think something, we talk something, we act something. There is no convergence in our thought process to action. It's time for us to think of it. It's time for us to think of a right policy and an effective implementation strategy to make this state a sustainable, livable state. Let us not compare with all other states. We are not interested in other states, how they are living, what they are living. We want to improve our own quality of life, which we enjoyed some 50 years back, and we want to give it to this quality of life to the younger generation and coming generations. It's time for the younger generations to respond to this and join as climate volunteers. You can contact Dr. Shiv Prasad Reddy,
Yeah.
and his phone number is available. We wish that it should be a part of a people's initiative to make this state and the country a sustainable living livable country, the state and the village. We should all come together. We must build synergy through the convergence. We may differ in our thought process, our school of thoughts, but our goal is to make a sustainable, a resilient city. It's moving. Number of legal cases are increasing day by day. Seriously, no attempt has been made neither by central nor the state authorities, including academic and research and training institutions in the country. The conflicts continues around climate change. People still do not believe that climate change is happening. When we are excess of water, the entire Europe and America is suffering with heat waves and forest fires. What is that we learn? Human and economic loss continues with escalating magnitude and frequency of climate disasters. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for every individual to think of it. Even if you want to get out of this country, you do not have a royal heaven in the USA. It is also suffering, my dear friend. So think, act locally, think globally, and let us come together. Okay, let us not waste our time and resources on gossip on climate, cloudburst, and etc. and etc. Thank you so much. It is now or never. Thank you so much, my dear friend Shiv Prasad Garu.
Sir, it's
It's time
pleasure.
for us to stop the gossip.
Yeah. Wonderful presentation once again. You have made it very clear. At least I hope Kalvakuntla Chandrasekhar Rao garu, Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana, and his own son, Kalvakuntla Taraka Ramarao garu. Incidentally, he is also Municipal Administration Minister, and he has got information technology also, which is very crucial and vital to understand, to read the reports at least. The reports published by the government EPTRI, and what is that Niti Aayog through its studies on climate change, and at the same time the institutions around, because you read a lot of books and you redesign and design Kaleshwaram. So in that context, how is that Kalvagantla Chandrasekhar Rao garu is missing the important reports? He himself stated cloudburst, and even he said there is a foreign hand. God knows which foreign hand it is that.